Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our summer edition of Diversity Talks. Tonight, we're featuring a very special guest, our own Dr. Memar. Hi, Rouzbeh, welcome.
Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me for today's talk. And I'm excited to chat about myself and my goals and everything else.
Of course, and our viewers are very excited to hear about you and your very unique journey through dentistry. So,
Mm-hmm.
we'll get started with the first question. Our question for you is, did you always know that you wanted to pursue dentistry? And what was that pursuit like? Where did you ultimately attend dental
For sure.
school?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, I knew I would like a career in healthcare when I was in later in high school, and when I started, I really liked science courses about the human body and how it works. And I wanted to be involved in healing people, eliminating pain, making people feel good about themselves, and being service to people. I found it a very valuable work. And so I decided to go to healthcare. I planned initially on both dentistry and medicine. So I went through 3 years of undergrad and yep, I did the courses that were required. I did the DAT exam, and also I did all the preparation that's sort of needed to get into dental school, such as shadowing and working in labs and sort of research experience. And when I got everything all together under the belt, I applied for dental school and I got into University of Toronto Dental School. So I did my 4 years of DDS there. I just recently graduated in June 2022. And when I was in the summer of my third year to fourth year, that was when I applied to Periodontics program in North America. And I ended up going to the University of British Columbia. And I guess that's something that we will later talk about.
Amazing. That's an incredible journey. And I'm wondering if you experienced any adversity along your way as a diverse individual, if there are
Mhm,
any challenges along your journey to becoming a dentist and how you
mhm.
face.
For sure. So basically, it was quite a difficult journey for me because I come indeed from a background of immigrants to Canada. So I'm the first generation going to university in Canada. All my parents went to university abroad, and it was sort of difficult to understand basically how the education system works here. So it's quite different. You need to go to a university to do an undergrad first, and then apply to DDS programs. And also in addition, you need to be a very experienced person in all aspects of life. You need to have a relatively rich CV. You need to be involved in student activities during your undergrad, in addition to maintaining a high GPA. So one of the biggest adversities was I didn't have any mentor to look up to, and I didn't know how to look up information about what to do in order to succeed. So, like for instance, when I was like choosing my courses in university, I didn't know what courses to take, what courses are good, what courses are not good. Uh, how would I be able to boost my GPA? I also didn't know how to reach out to supervisors and professors for research. I also didn't know what's the journey of even applying to dental school is like. So I sort of, all of these things started coming into the internet like a few years ago, but when I was going through it, there wasn't much information, there wasn't much out there. Or at least I didn't know how to access it. So I think one of the adversities I had was as an immigrant child, trying to get the information and sort of the mentorship that's needed in order to succeed, in order to go ahead. Because it's quite different than the country I'm coming from. And my parents also couldn't help me. And I think what really helped me out was sort of, I think for me worked out by luck to some extent. Like I just said, okay, let me like do this because it seems cool. So I studied these courses in undergrad because I seem to enjoy them, and I'm thankful because it worked out great. Like I was able to achieve high uh, scores and grades in them, and I started like asking other students in the same year as me and how could I would be able to be involved in more extracurricular activities. How would I be able to do research? And they sort of provided me a bit of guidance, but at the end of the day, they were the same age as me, so they couldn't really give me more information. So they just gave me the basics, which helped, I guess, to some extent. But then that sort of, I'm very grateful that things worked out the way they did. I mean, times have passed, things have become more difficult to get into dental school, that's for sure. But also, uh, the resources are more available these days in different formats. I mean, this whole initiative that we are talking about now, the diversity in dentistry, I think it's a result of all that difficulties I had. So I wanted to provide an open, free, accessible to all platform in the form of videos and sort of mentorship so that the students can actually survive and then go through this journey successfully.
That's wonderful. It's really nice how you took your own challenges and try to help others with it.
Exactly. I think that's like the big thing for me. Like I want to make things easier for others so they don't have to go through all the difficulties that I had.
Yeah, and it's just what you said about how as a dental student you do need to be well-rounded and you need to be not only focused on your academics but also your outreach and your extracurriculars.
Hmm. Because if
So,
you, yeah, because if you think about it, it's quite difficult than in other countries. For instance, in Iran, the country I'm originally from, you only need to do well in high school and in like a big entrance exam. And once you get that done, then you are in your journey of choice, in profession of choice.
right.
So which is quite different here. So I think
Yeah, very
that
different.
mentorship and guidance is really key. And sort of that was my adversity. The lack of it was the adversity I
Right.
faced.
Well, that's a great segue into my next question, which is about what motivated you and myself to start diversity in dentistry and the organization we've created, how it has led to a published article in the Ontario Dental
Mhm.
Association, the journal. And if you could share with us a bit about that research project and the mentorship program through our initiative.
For sure. So basically, diversity in dentistry, as we just talked about, is a result of my own adversities. And sort of, I had this idea in me and my colleague, we both came up with this idea in the year 2020, when it was the start of the pandemic. We wanted to do something during the summer. It was meant to be a summer project, and we decided to start this organization. It is a recognized student club at the U of T, but also at the same time, just like other initiatives in dentistry, is a standalone phenomena per se for itself in a standalone organization. And right now, it's in the format of Facebook page and videos. And these videos are interviews with people, just like the one that we're having right now, and also sort of guides on application preparation for dental schools, which are like available as videos on YouTube. And it's been actually quite successful. So people still watch those videos and sort of get inspired. And so the whole initiative went through phases. At the beginning, when we started this, we also wanted to do like a research project during summer of that year. And it was a time where the whole idea of Black Lives Matter started in the US. And at that time, we were really inspired by doing something for minorities and for people who are systemically underserved in North America. And just came to our mind that maybe Black Canadians, which form a significant portion of our population, maybe they're also not able to access oral healthcare services to the same extent as other Canadians. So we decided to do a research project on this. And then as we did, we also saw COVID-19 as this big pandemic, global pandemic, which has affected all aspects of our life, starting from access to oral healthcare to like everything, like to even to medical system, access to the medical system or to our education system. So it has its footprints everywhere. So we wanted to see what impact this COVID-19 has had on the access to care for oral care for Black Canadians. And to that project, we had to do like a bit of a literature review, see where the state of the field is in terms of accessibility to oral healthcare or for general population. And then when it came to Black Canadians, and then later on, moving to see how COVID-19 played a role in it and sort of trying and at the beginning of the pandemic there wasn't much information available, so we had to sort of gather our own data as well by partnering up with the Federation of Black Canadians which is a national organization supporting Black Canadians. And we worked with them. We got information from them. We had their members sending us their feedbacks and their ideas about accessibility to oral healthcare, and we put everything together and we published a report in the ODA uh, journal, and it's the provincial journal of Ontario Dental Association, which gets distributed to all dentists. And at the same time, we also got featured in CDAOs, which is the Canadian Dental Association podcast series, which has a very broad audience, and it's one of the main activities of CDA as an educational tool. And it was a really good article because we got to work with Dr. Carlos Quinones, who's a public health dentist, and he also read our ideas and he helped us in publishing it, which was actually quite significant. Right now, he's the vice dean at the Western University School of Dentistry and Medicine. So I think we did some good work there, and sort of our foundings have actually helped the real initiate talks about real changes in our healthcare system. And right now we are even seeing a universal dental care plan. So I think these all have stemmed from these smaller projects throughout time, and sort of different political parties have used them to sort of bring new ideas, and that's the state that where we are now today. There is still way to go, but this small project was also something that we started as part of our efforts in diversity in dentistry.
Absolutely. Wonderfully said. And now transitioning to where you are today. First of all, congratulations on having received your DDS degree at the University of Toronto, but we're no longer seeing you there. You've transitioned to life in Vancouver for periodontics. So I'm curious as to what guided you towards that particular specialty, how you knew you even wanted to specialize, and what your future goals are as a dentist and as a specialist.
For sure. So basically, right now I'm an incoming first year perio resident at UBC. So periodontics to me is like a fundamental aspect of oral health. Like periodontium is the foundation. So if you don't have a healthy periodontium, you cannot build up a healthy smile. And I remember my initial spark in periodontics started from the very early days in clinic. All of the patients we were seeing, even in treatment planning, we had to first establish a diagnosis of the periodontium and provide periodontal treatment. And before we could do anything further, even like doing crowns and even making dentures. So it sort of instilled in our mind that the periodontium is a key aspect of the mouth. Like if you don't have a healthy periodontium, regardless of how beautiful your teeth are, it's gonna all fail. So because it doesn't have a solid stable, it's like uh, building it's like building, like think about like how when you're building a house, you have to have a strong foundation, and if the foundation is not there, then everything is going to collapse regardless of how beautiful the whole house is, right? So then when I was taking like the didactic part of periodontics at dental school, it sort of really even increased my interest as well, because I really liked how in periodontics you have to think about different procedures. There is a variety of different diseases you have to be able to diagnose. There is whole staging and grading, and then there are things you can do. There are like different surgeries you can do, like regenerative surgeries, which seem quite interesting. Being able to build back periodontium, resective surgeries where you are removing all those bony defects that can be bacterial traps. And all the way from there. So that was like the most interesting didactic part of my DDS curriculum. Periodontics really stood out to me. And I reached to a point that I was getting close to graduation. It was the summer of third year to fourth year. And I said, okay, so what are my plans for the future? And I knew that like I like general dentistry, but at the same time, I wanted to get a bit more knowledge. I also really like research coming from the research project that I just explained. So I said, let me apply to the field of periodontics because I really liked the course that we took during undergrad, like the whole didactic component, and I also really liked the clinical work, at least to the very basic extent we're doing. I could really see its impact. And I applied to all universities in North America, and I went, and I was sort of, I think, fortunate that they all had, except UBC. UBC was in person, but a lot of them had like Zoom interviews. So I was able to apply and go to a lot of interviews because they were all through Zoom. Like I remember there was like a day that I was on the interview with one school, and then in the break I was in the interview with another school, and then I got back to the interview with the same school again. It was through Zoom, and there was like a significant time difference between them in terms of the time zone those schools were in, but I was able to do it because of the magic of Zoom, I guess, and how popular it is. So I think a combination of both me being able to apply to a lot of universities, and at the same time, like my interest in the perio sort of motivated me to go to the periodontics and actually accept the offer that I was given by the University of British Columbia. The reason I'm at UBC, I think going from U of T, so it's always easier to do my education in Canada because like if I had to go to States, I would be considered an international student. And being an international student, I mean, it is good, but at the same time, it has its own disadvantages. Like the tuitions are often higher. It's sort of difficult to get that visa for studying, and also you have limitations on what you can do after and even during your studies because you're on a student visa. So there might be services you cannot access. So ideally, a Canadian university would have been my top choice. And in Canada, there are only 5 periodontic programs, and out of those 5, 4 of them is English speaking. I couldn't apply to the French one because I didn't have the background in French. Each school usually in Perio they get 2 or 3 people. I mean, UBC, all others except U of T get 2 people, and U of T gets 3 people. So as you can imagine, there was like only 9 spots. And I remember even University of Alberta, they needed like a 1 year of GPR experience or 2 years of private practice. And I wasn't eligible to apply because I was applying right out of dental school. Um, and what ended up happening was I think here at UBC, my research interests were recognized. They also had some wet lab research background during my years at dental school. And sort of with the faculty here that resonated, and they took a chance on me, and they accepted me. And yes, I'm here. So that's my journey so far. So I'm studying a periodontics residency program in like about a week, and I just finished moving to Vancouver. In terms of my future goals, I think it will be a mixture of community service in the format of diversity in dentistry initiative, like hopefully we can expand it a bit more, and also doing some clinical work and some research work. So I think it would be a good mixture of these three. Well, maybe the extent of it will be different at different parts in my life. Like during residency, it might be like times that I'm very heavily focused on research, and there will be times I'm heavily working clinic. But then after I graduate, then the focus will be different. I can do a bit maybe less research and focus on establishing clinical work and some community service work in the same format of this diversity in dentistry, or going to clinics that need specialist services, um, and sort of providing this mentorship going on. I think the next step for me is the same mentorship that I think I help people get into dental school. I want to be able to do that to help general dentists and senior dental students to get into residency programs. Because as I mentioned earlier, I had the privilege of going to a lot of interviews because of the whole pandemic situation and everything going online. And I have like a wealth of experience that hopefully even through this platform I will be able to share and sort of continue this journey with you. So we establish this together. Awesome.
Yeah, that's a wonderful answer. And congratulations on your accomplishment. It's such an achievement to really be admitted to a specialty program directly from dental school. And it's very clear your passion for perio, and I'm sure it'll take you to great places. So, our last question for you would be your advice. Any advice that you would give to our student members who are also hoping to pursue a career in dentistry, and how you think that they should go about that, Any tips?
For sure. So I think the biggest advice I can give is in each step of your journey, have multiple paths in front of you. And at the same time, apply to as many as opportunities that you might have. Always take an opportunity when given. It might not be ideal, it might not be the best one that you wanted, but it's something that's available to you. And I think we need to be grateful and you have to take those opportunities as long as they are making you closer to that goal. For instance, an advice I give out to all dental students is like when it comes to residency programs, apply to as many residency programs as possible and you can afford because different schools look at different things. And for instance, even for UBC, when I was originally applying, I didn't expect to get in because I mean Canadian programs are quite difficult and they don't usually get people directly out of dental school. But it worked. So if I hadn't given a shot at this school, I would have never got in. So I think it's important to apply to as many as programs as possible at each stage of your journey. And that's my number one. Which with this comes having different options in life. So always try to envision yourself in different things and give everything a shot as much as it's reasonable. If it's in the format of different specialties, for instance, if you like both GPR, general practice residency, and periodontics, apply to both. You might never know which one works out. Don't say, oh, maybe I should only apply to GPR because a specialty might not, would probably not worked out. That's not definitely the case. The other advice is always seek mentors and ask for help from people who have already succeeded. Different people have different comfort levels of sharing their knowledge. Some people share their knowledge quite extensively. Some are a bit shy. So, and they might not share with you everything. But as long as you ask as many as people and try to gather all the information, it will help a lot in your journey. And this comes not only for like applying to different schools and going from one stage to the other, but also as you're going through the dental school and as you're going through the residency, it's always good to ask for help from people who are credible and who you think have your best interests at heart and go from there.
Wonderful. I love that. Yeah, it's really important to not limit yourself and to just shoot your shot, go for your goals. So,
Exactly, exactly.
on behalf of Diversity in Dentistry and myself, it's been such a pleasure to interview you, to hear more about where you come from and where it's led you. And thank you so much for joining us.
No worries, and I'm glad that you reached out to me to have a conversation today because I think I always got asked about my own journey, and I'm really glad we finally set aside this time to have this conversation and share with the world and our platform what is our own journey, what has been our own journey so far, and I want to get a promise from you that our next guest will be actually you. So hopefully we can have you and sort of talk about your journey and how you got here. So our audience can actually learn you more as well. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And we will see you in the next one.
Thank you.